All right, I'll go now, yeah?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah.
Now?
Yeah.
Now?
Oh, God.
Now!
Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, Georgia and Alex.
Hi, welcome back to Culture Bucket. This is the podcast where two best friends discuss and talk about all the pop culture that they've been absorbing, with particular focus on a different topic each week. This week we're going to be looking at Stranger Things Rewind, the first 3 volumes, in time for next episode, which will be a big blowout review of Volume 4, which was the biggest thing in the world this year on Netflix, which is where you can watch Stranger Things. So we'll get to that later, but before that we've got our usual Culture Catch-Up, where we talk about what we've been doing. Then we've got our MyTube, where we watch some upcoming film trailers and things like that. And then we'll get into our big discussion. And I am your host, George, and with me is your other host, Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hi, George. Hi, everyone. How are you doing today,
Hi.
George?
Great. I have a sore throat today, so I apologise if I sound bad. It's not this time due to a recording issue, it's due to medical condition.
Yeah.
So
apologize. I apologize for the sound quality in the last episode.
Yeah, but you shouldn't, because it was my fault. But sorry,
I tried my best to make you sound better than you did.
yeah. Never mind.
Your hair's still looking great, though.
Thank you. I'm going to get it trimmed before the summer starts properly.
Yes.
I think. I might just shave it all off completely.
No, go back and say, can I have it
It's
short
so
like you
hot.
did the last time?
It's so hot. I can't bear the heat.
But
Never mind.
how amazing that in 3 weeks and 1 day, I'm going to see your face.
That is amazing.
I'm going to
But in
hug
2
your... well, I'm
days-
not just going to see your face. I'm going to hug your face. I'm going to hug your body.
Yes, please. But in 2 days, it might be 40 degrees in the UK, and if that happens, I'll die. So you might not get to hug me.
Please don't die. It's been so long. I have to see you.
40 degrees.
Yep. Yeah, it's already hit Italy, and it's not pleasant. As you can see, I've got a very shiny face, and it's amazing.
My freezer is full of Calippos.
Calippo.
Yeah.
What's your favorite flavor of Calippo?
Well, I've got the cola flavour.
The best flavor.
No, I've got the orange flavour.
That is not the best flavor.
And I've got my personal favourite flavour, the lime flavour.
Oh, I've never tried lime.
Always like lime, always like mint. They're my go-tos
Oh no,
for
mint
cream
ice
lollies.
lollies are the worst
Yes,
thing
please.
in
Yes, please.
the world.
Yes, please. No. Although mint ice cream and lime lollies, because mint lollies they just taste like toothpaste.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get a mint lolly.
Yeah, here you can. In Italy, you can definitely get mint lollies.
Oh no, you definitely can in Europe. Yeah, I might have had mint lollies before. No, they're nice.
No,
actually.
they're horrific. It's like mouthwash, frozen
That's
mouthwash.
Great. So, I think you started last time.
Yes, I
didn't you?
did.
Yeah, so shall I start this week?
Yes, of course.
Okay, good. We're going to do Culture Catch-Up.
Yeah.
Play the jingle.
It's Culture Catch-Up time. This is where we talk about what we've watched, what we've read, what we've listened to, and probably some other stuff. Culture Catch-Up time.
And last week we did our favourite Natalie Portman films.
Yeah. 2 weeks
And so
ago.
this week, 2 weeks ago, and so this week I have a Natalie Portman film to review.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. I haven't managed to go and watch it.
fair play. I won't spoil it. It is the latest movie in the Thor franchise, the fourth Thor film, and it follows the adventures of Thor, Odin's son, as he attempts to... he didn't really care about his love life in the last movie, but this movie opens with the insistence that he's lovelorn and misses his one true love, Jane Foster, who we last saw in Thor: The Dark World back in 2012 or something, years and years ago. No, later than that, but 2013 or 14. Anyway, he misses her a lot. He's very, very sad and upset, he's decided, and he is hanging about with the Guardians of the Galaxy doing space adventures. Then we cut to Jane Foster. She is very sick. She is dying, and she is potentially saved, or is she, by Thor's hammer Mjolnir, which was destroyed in Thor Ragnarok, but reforms to turn Jane Foster into the Mighty Thor, resulting in there being two Thors. Amongst all of this, we have got a man named Gorr, whose daughter tragically dies in the middle of a desert in the opening scene of the movie, played by Christian Bale. He wanders into an oasis where he discovers the god that he has dedicated his life to worshipping, who doesn't care that his daughter has died, and merely wants to sacrifice Gorr to himself. Gorr is then approached by a sword that appears to have some sort of a psychic power called the Necro Sword, that gives him all sorts of powers to kill gods, and he becomes Gorr the God Butcher, and his mission becomes to kill all gods. And then obviously what with Thor being a god, they come to heads at some point in the movie, and Thor has to defeat Gorr the God Butcher and deal with the re-emergence of his lost love Jane, and also visiting Zeus, played by Russell Crowe, doing a Greek accent that sounds more like an Italian accent.
Oh, bellissimo!
I am a Zeus. I have a lightning bolt. He's literally doing that. It's very... But I think it's meant to be funny. It's very strange seeing Russell Crowe do some kind of... Apparently it's a play on some kind of famous Australian comedian from the 80s that he's meant to sound like, but no one outside of Australia will be aware of that, and it just sounds like a bad accent. Zeus, a lightning bolt.
I like. Very much.
Exactly. Good. How many different things did I just describe then while I was talking about the plot?
Quite a few. Like, in fact,
Yeah.
I got lost when you said sword and Zeus and Greek. I was like, what?
It's not a complicated film. It's fairly simple, but it is disjointed, and the pacing is all over the place, because you open with him with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but then within about 10 minutes the Guardians of the Galaxy are like, well, we're going to go off and do a Guardians Volume 3, I reckon, so you stay here and do your Thor movie, and then we'll join up again for the next big team-up movie. So the Guardians disappear, which kind of makes it feel like when, at the end of Avengers Endgame, when Thor's like, I'm going to go and do Adventures of the Guardians of the Galaxy, the only point of that appears to be to add 10 minutes onto the runtime of this movie at the start, that we doesn't really achieve anything. We're told repeatedly that Gorr is this very powerful god butcher, and he's going around the universe murdering gods. Throughout the movie, we see him kill one god, which doesn't exactly build him up to be this particularly terrifying villain. So he's kind of played incredibly well by Christian Bale, because he does everything he does well, but doesn't particularly earn his place as a big time bad guy. And yeah, it was one of those movies where as I was watching it, I was laughing and enjoying it and having a good time, and then when it finished I was like, that was pretty good. And then every day since, I've kind of soured on it a little bit more, and to the point now I'm kind of like, what a disappointing film.
Oh, no!
Yeah. I went back in, I think I gave it 4 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd when I came out, and I went back in and put it down to 3 stars out of 5, which is a more accurate rendition. Which is disappointing, because it's Thor, it's Taika Waititi. He's meant to be amazing. Everything he does is great usually, but I don't know. I think they've kind of missed it on this one a bit. The shining light being Natalie Portman, who's really good in it. Christian Bale's really good in it. Russell Crowe is doing something in it. Chris Hemsworth is huge in it, and he's good at playing that character now. I think it all comes down to the pacing and the writing and the directing, which kind of all comes under one man. Unfortunately,
that's such a shame.
It is a shame. It's a big shame. But there we go. That was the only big thing I had for Culture Catch-Up. Also, there's a new Black Midi album that's just hit, Hellfire, which is some kind of a concept album. I've listened to it a couple of times, and it's Black Midi. If you don't know them, they are sort of a post-punk, jazz, rock trio thing. Their music is pretty aggressively strange, but I really enjoy it, and this seems like more of the same from them, which has resulted in, I think, the weakest reviews they've had for an album so far, because their whole thing should be that they're always different, and this doesn't sound particularly different to their other stuff, but it's still enjoyable. I liked it. So Black Midi Hellfire seems like a good album. The third season of The Boys on Amazon Prime Video finished a week or so ago. Probably maybe the best season I've done so far. If you haven't watched The Boys before, it is. Have you watched or heard of The Boys, Alex?
No, not at all.
It's it's on Amazon Video. It's based on a comic book series which I tried to read this week, which is the first. No, probably not the first time, but one of the biggest times I've ever really genuinely thought that the film or TV show in this case is way better than the source material it's based on. The comic book is awful, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the TV series. It's basically set in a world where superheroes are commodified and treated like celebrities. So there is a version of the Avengers or the Justice League called the Seven, led by a version of Superman called Homelander. But in this world, he is a narcissistic, sociopathic, vain lunatic who cares very little for human life. If that reminds you of a recent US president, that is very much intended in the satire of the show. And it follows a group of a team who call themselves the Boys, led by Billy Butcher, who's played amazingly by Carl Urban, doing some kind of, is it Australian, is it Cockney accent, who knows, but it's something wild. And Huey, played by Jack Quaid, who's Dennis Quaid's son, but is a pretty great actor in his own right. The first episode of season 1 opens with Huey losing his girlfriend because this world's version of the Flash, who's called A-Train, runs through her accidentally, and she explodes in a big bloody red mist, and Huey's left stood on the side of the road holding just her hands and nothing else. And then he joins up with Billy Butcher and his team, and they decide to try and take down superheroes. And every episode is a lot of the episodes are filled with a huge amount of tension because the main characters don't have superpowers, so every time they come in contact with what they call a soup, like Homelander or Black Noir, who's their version of Batman, or any of the others, it's sort of this incredibly tense scene because it's like, how are they going to survive this encounter? Like, they have literally no abilities at all of any kind. It's really, really violent. It's very funny. It's very the political satire is really on point, and particularly in the third season when Homelander really starts going down a very Trumpian path with the way he kind of behaves around the public and stuff. It's fun. It's really good and fun, and I'd recommend it if anyone hasn't watched it, or if you haven't watched it yet, Alex, I'd recommend checking it out. It's a good take on superheroes. It's a little bit more, I don't know, a bit, I guess you could call it a bit cynical in some ways, but it's kind of a good, fun satire on the superhero business, which is good. So season 3 of The Boys, big recommendation. And finally, a new game came out on Xbox Game Pass this week, and I've been playing it, and it's pretty good, and it's called Power Wash Simulator, and you have a power washer, and you go around and wash things with it. Have you seen those YouTube videos where people have power washers and they like spray a path and suddenly it's all clean?
Yeah.
Have you seen any power? It's like that basically, but it's a video game simulation of it.
Oh, okay.
So in the first level, you clean a really dirty van. In the second level, you clean a really dirty garden. I haven't got to the third level yet, but I'm sure you'll clean something. Oh, it's a motorbike, actually. You clean a very dirty motorbike in the third level.
Okay.
You
And
can
is
change
there a
the nozzle
time?
size.
Is there?
No, there's a challenge mode where you get timed. But I prefer just playing the main mode where you can just take your time and have a good time power washing the stuff.
That's so weird.
It's good.
Like, you basically.
It's free if you have Game Pass as well, so check it out. People listening, if you have Game Pass.
So you just clean.
Yeah, you just clean things, but with a power washer, which is, a cool thing.
But what kind of controller do you use?
Use a game controller.
So you're just pressing a button and power washing, like
Yeah, but you can change the nozzle, so you can change the angle of the spray.
Okay.
And unlock new, more powerful nozzles and things, and you get and wash. There's a level where you can wash an entire train.
Wow.
Yeah, or an entire miniature golf course.
So is that something that you're using to unwind at the moment?
Yeah. It's like a very good, like, chill unwinding thing, and it's multiplayer as well. Like, you can play with friends and all go around and clean the miniature golf course together.
Have you played it with your housemate?
No, but he watched me playing it and found it relaxing. And
Okay.
he's like, I'm gonna go and download this.
That's interesting.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. Well, I've also been playing Yakuza Kiwami 2.
Yeah.
Which I think I've talked about the Yakuza games on this podcast before. But that's an old game. I've just been playing it because it's good. I like it, but it's not worth... And I've not finished it, so I won't talk about it on the podcast yet. But Yakuza is a great game, and that's an exciting video game.
Yeah.
Going around Dotonbori in Osaka and fighting street thugs and stuff.
How exciting.
Bam, bam, bam.
Bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been to Dotonbori. It's full of Yakuzas just brawling in the streets. Very accurate game.
Yeah. Yeah, with their machine guns.
Yeah. No, there's no guns in it.
Oh, okay.
Well, occasionally you get a gun, but it's not really a thing. It's more like fist fighting and stuff.
Do you remember when we went to in that really kind of interesting part of town in Osaka, and we saw this Yakuza hide or building, and there was a full suit of armor?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I wonder what to do with it.
But it's probably just to intimidate people. It's quite intimidating. It's doing its job.
Yeah, definitely.
What have you been doing this week?
This week, okay, so finally on Disney Plus, after a few months, that has come out on FX, season 3 of Atlanta has come out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is a series that I've talked about on the podcast before. The rise and life of Paperboy and his cousin Earl that's trying to manage him, and his best friend Darius, who is just there, and Van, which is Ern's girlfriend, and I've been really waiting for this season quite a bit, because I think every season it got better, and this season they're not in Atlanta, they are in Europe, and it's Paperboy's Alfred, played by Brian Tyree Henry, which we have seen quite a bit since Atlanta started.
He's in Bullet Train this summer as
yeah,
well.
so I'm quite excited to see him because I really like him. His European tour, and everything has changed quite a bit. Ern, who is his manager and cousin, played by Donald Glover, seems to have his shit together, and he's managing him really well, and they seem to do really well. And Darius, played by Lakeith Stanfield, is still the same guy, maybe a little bit. I feel like he's a bit lost in this season, but I think he's part of the process. And Van joins them, his ex-girlfriend and the mum of their daughter, Zazie Beetz, joins them as well. For some reason, something has happened. I really love this season. It's so different. It actually goes into... it shows how strange Donald Glover is. And I like this because it's like the first episode, there is none of the characters. The first episode is just there's nobody in the characters, and there's another episode later on that there's none of the characters again. So every episode feels like a little kind of standalone moment. And in this season, he really there's a lot about race, and he explores a lot about how the commercial success that he's having is actually quite is not going really the way they're supposed to be going, and how the Black community is exploited and has been exploited, and is really, really interesting. I really enjoyed the season, and on Rotten Tomatoes, the audience doesn't like it very much, but the critics...
I've seen mixed reactions to it.
Yeah, because it's completely different. We arrive at a point where we're not really sure how Paperboy is this, why he's so successful. We haven't seen his rise to success. He's just successful now, and what is exploring now is what happens with this success. Have you watched any seasons of Atlanta?
I've watched some of the first season.
The third one is very different from the others, and that's what I like, because I think he can change and he can do things in a different way. And what I like is, like, every episode has got like a little caption. So the first episode is called Free Slaps, and the caption is, "Wow, it's been a minute. I mean, I like this episode about the troubled kid, but we waited 50 years for this." And there's another one that goes, white fashion, which it was a really incredible episode, and the caption is, "I've definitely seen this before on a better show. They're always stealing ideas, but the fashion industry gotta be exposed. Streetwear." Yeah. And then the Big Payback, which is episode 4, like, even if you don't want to watch the series, is really interesting. And the caption is, "I was legit scared watching this." And after that, I was like, oh, why is it scary? Something must be happening to the person. This is one of the episodes where none of the main characters are in. And so I thought, oh, something is going to go down. And it's completely not. You understand why it says, "I was legit scared watching this." Depending on... It kind of makes you question how you would react to a certain thing, and a question that, am I, privileged and stuff like that. So it's really good, and I feel like Donald Glover is such a interesting and weird person that what he does here is kind of surreal, and you don't have to take it as like complete reality. I think this season could even like be a little bit on the same level as Black Mirror, because it's kind of surreal, kind of real. Things happen, not really. Sometimes things happen and you go, but that's impossible that it happens so quickly. But when you realize that you don't really have to look at it as reality, I feel then is I really like it. That's Atlanta season 3. I think it would be good to watch even if you haven't watched the other 2 seasons.
No, I wouldn't do that, but I will. I do. It is on my list to watch all of it at some point. It's just I keep not getting around to it. If you see what I mean? Yeah. And I think I'll have to start it again at this point. So I will watch it. And now because it was on a streaming service in the UK before Disney Plus existed, where it was only on there for a little bit and then it got taken down, so I couldn't finish it. And then when it appeared again, I'd when you've started something but not finished it, and then it's been long enough that you'd have to start it again. So I just keep on sort of missing it a little bit, but I will. Now it's on Disney Plus and it's just always there. I can get around to it.
Yeah. And then I've got an album cover recommendation.
What's your album recommendation?
My album recommendation is a 2022 release by Grace Ives called Janky Star.
I've never heard of that.
Oh. I listened to her previous album and is really fun, really kind of interesting sound. And she's a singer-songwriter from New York, and she likes to kind of work with synthesizers and to kind of experiment with sounds. And this new album is very different. She's working with a producer that has worked with Charlie XCX and Ives Tumor. Do you know them?
Yes, I saw them live
Yes, incredible.
a few weeks ago. Yeah, they were great.
Really good. And it kind of like with this collaboration kind of made this album a little bit more different, but still very varied and but very kind of like less playful but a little bit more serious maybe. That's how I felt with this album. And it's only 30 minutes and I really enjoy it. It's one of those albums that is 30 minutes, but it kind of, you listen to it and then when it finishes, you're like, oh, it's finished. I'm not happy. And so, yeah, but I think it's really good and I think you might like it. I think you might like her previous album more, called Second. But yeah, and that's it for my Culture Catch-Up this week.
Not bad. Not bad. I forgot to mention that Miss Marvel finished this week. Have you watched any of that?
I've watched 4 episodes. I want to finish it first before I talk about it. I'm enjoying the cultural aspect a lot. I'm loving the representation of the culture so much. I think that is incredible. I think it's simple enough for kids to watch. So it's very childish.
I like that.
Yeah, and I think it's really good. But it's not like maybe I enjoyed other things more. But I love the way they're showing the Muslim community, the diversity in the Muslim community, and yeah. So I want to finish it, but I definitely would like to talk to you about it.
Good.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought the 5th episode was the worst one, and then the finale was good. All right, a little bit of MyTube.
Yeah.
A couple of trailers to show you today. Although you might have seen them already. Who knows?
Oh, no, I haven't seen this one. So, George has sent me... Wait a second. Okay, so George has sent me The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power main teaser. Okay. Is this directed by...
No.
What's his name?
It's not. Peter Jackson. No, this is the Amazon TV show that's coming out in September.
Okay.
So it's not directed by Peter
Nothing
Jackson.
to do with that. Maybe I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, after what he did to The Hobbit.
Yeah. The Hobbit left a bitter, nasty taste in my mouth.
This is set... I think, and if any Tolkien scholars are listening... feel free to berate me, but I think this is set during the Second Age, whereas the Lord of the Rings main stuff is set during the Third Age. So this is set like 1,000 or 2,000 years before any of the Lord of the Rings stuff. So it's in Middle Earth, but it's not got anything to do with Frodo or Gandalf or anything.
What?
What did I just do? Why did I confuse you? What's wrong?
Is there not like just one Lord of the Rings?
No, it's Middle Earth, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Tolkien, who wrote the Lord of the Rings books, wrote the Silmarillion, and like he was more interested in creating a world, so he wrote like the whole history of Middle Earth. So there's like the First Age, the Second Age, the Third Age, and like the age that the actual Lord of the Rings books takes place in, I think, is the Third Age. So this TV show is that they've taken everything he said happened during the Second Age, and they're kind of turning it into a TV series. But of course, in Tolkien's books, the Second Age, like some of these events happen hundreds of years apart. But for this show, they're kind of compressing the timeline, I think, to make everything happen, within the time span that a TV show could exist in, which is controversial. So we'll watch the trailer and then have a little chat about what you think.
Okay.
You ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
There was a time when the world was so young. There had not yet been
Oh, not a sunrise.
But even then, there was light.
Was there always light, or just not a sunrise?
Who knows?
Who knows?
I think it just means that it's early.
Okay, so it looks pretty grand, a bit like Lord of the Rings. So
They're spending a lot of money on it.
yeah,
Dwarfs their minds.
You've got elves, you've got dwarves,
yeah.
men, all these standard Lord of the Rings. Harfoots, which is like what will become hobbits, I think.
We're safe.
You have fought long enough, Galadriel.
Galadriel.
So that's obviously Cate Blanchett's character, because elves are immortal.
Ah, yeah.
Played by a different actor.
True.
The enemy is still out there. The question now is where?
Okay,
It is over.
You have not seen what I've seen.
I have seen my share.
You have not seen.
Oh, there's a horrible thing happening.
What I
And she has seen, and he has not seen.
Darkness will march over the face of the earth. It will be the end, not just of our people, but all peoples.
So something is gonna happen. It's gonna be really bad.
But their time has come.
Oh, the dwarves,
The past is with us all.
and there's a war.
Past is dead.
Yeah. Horses.
So this should
Boats.
come before Lord of the Rings, yeah?
Die with it.
Yeah, like 1,000 years before. Yeah.
Okay.
Like a long, long time before.
And nothing has changed, basically. So in 1,000 years, everything is the same.
No, not at all. Have you not been paying attention to the trailer, Alex?
Well, there's some people fighting, and there's horses, and there's...
Yeah, but there's entire cities, like bustling industrial cities, which have fallen and died by
okay.
the time the main Lord of the Rings stuff happens. Anyway, I think this series is going to be about the forging of the Rings of Power, which is how
okay.
Sauron, got the One Ring, which is explained by Galadriel in the opening.
Interesting.
Of the first movie. What do you think of that? What do you think?
Yeah. It looks okay. It looks amazing. Scenography is beautiful, beautiful scenery. There's a lot of but I don't think I think I'm done with that kind of stuff.
Right. Well,
Well, because it's a series, isn't it?
yeah.
So is it like a limited series, or is it going to be,
No,
kind
they've
of,
committed
Game
to
of Thrones kind of?
They're spending like $1 billion on it
Yeah,
or something.
I'm not going to get into that. No.
No, because we're going to have to talk about it on this podcast. It's going to be
Well, you
big.
can talk to me about it, and I can see it through your eyes.
Don't know if that's...
What, are you going to watch it?
Yeah, it's Lord of the Rings. Rings
Yeah,
of
but
Power.
I don't know. I really enjoyed the trilogy, and then he decided to make The Hobbit.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with any of this. That's
Okay.
no
But you
connection to
invest
this
you
at
invest a lot of money with these people, and then you have to invest more invest more time with this Game of Thrones kind of thing. I don't know if I can.
I don't know if it looks like Game of Thrones.
No, but it's going to be epic like Game of Thrones. That's what I mean. Like these kind of big.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I guess so. But I'd rather watch
big-
Stranger Things again.
You've seen that now. You've got to move on. Big Tolkien fans hate it.
Has it already come out?
No, but they've announced stuff that makes people angry because they've changed things slightly. Like there are female dwarves in this and they don't have beards.
Oh,
And female dwarves are meant to have beards, Alex. So, obviously that's a big problem. So, I don't know. I kind of want to be hyped for it because it feels like everyone has just already decided it's going to be terrible, and I'd rather.
No, I'm sure it's
I
going to be
hate
good.
it when people judge things from the trailer. You know what I mean?
Like, I'm sure it's going to be okay. I'm just not that interested anymore in, like, spending time with people like this. But maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe it'll be like a Stranger Things thing that I'm just going to bloody love it.
Maybe you bloody well will.
It's a bit like Persuasion. Do you know the new Persuasion, the Netflix film with Dakota Johnson?
Oh, yeah.
That everybody's up in arms because it's terrible. And, like, I want to watch it because I saw a reviewer saying that maybe people have missed the point of, like, this remake of this book that has been made so many times. And apparently it's not that bad.
Mark Kermode liked it. Premier British film critic Mark Kermode gave it a good review, and then people wrote into his podcast berating him for liking it.
And that's the thing, but it's really weird how people, like, you know, these Tolkien fans and Jane Austen fans, like, can we not just change things up and have kind of the same? Because apparently the humor, Jane Austen's humor is in Persuasion, is just a little bit different from the BBC drama Persuasion, you know? But people are like, oh no.
Well, watch it and tell us what it's like.
I'm going to watch it.
Please
Next time I'm going to talk to you about it.
Good. Okay, another film trailer. Have you seen the film Orphan?
No.
Okay.
I've seen the picture, the poster of the film Orphan.
I'm going to slightly spoil the movie Orphan from 2009 for you now.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the film Orphan, it's about a couple who get a adopter girl. I haven't seen it for a while, so I might be getting some things wrong, but they adopt this girl called Esther, and Esther's all strange and weird, and basically...
Oh, yeah, you told me. She's not a child, is she?
No, the twist is she's like 30 years old.
Yeah, she's
like
an adult.
Woman. So, Orphan came out in 2009. Yeah? Esther in that movie was played by Isabel Fuhrman, who in 2009 was...
65.
12 years old.
Okay.
12 years old, right?
Yeah.
This year, they're releasing Orphan First Kill, a prequel set before the original, but Esther is again played by Isabel Fuhrman, but now obviously Isabel Fuhrman is 25 years old, playing a character who is about that age, should be... I guess the actual character is about 25, but is meant to look like a 10-year-old girl, but it's being played by a 25-year-old.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So this is a prequel to Orphan from 2009 with the girl played by the same actress who is now 12, 13 years older than she was when she filmed the original, but is meant to be younger than she was in the original film. So let's have a look at the trailer for Orphan First Kill. Interestingly, this week, I also watched for the first time ever the 1970 British adaptation of The Railway Children. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's very good. It was very, very good. But Jenny Agutter plays the eldest of the three children in it, and she was like 17 or 18, I think, when she made it. And she's meant to be about 18 in the film, or 16. And then her younger sister is meant to be 11, but was played by an actress who was 20 when the movie was made.
Oh.
And it was in her contract when they made the film that she wasn't allowed to be seen drinking or smoking or driving a car while filming, because everyone was meant to think that she was 11, but she was 20. Anyway, that's The Railway Children.
There's a Paramount Plus.
Yes, it is a Paramount Plus.
Oh, so now everything is on streaming, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so you have to pay for, like, everything.
Pretty much.
Okay.
The last Paranormal Activity was Paramount Plus and was rubbish. So let's see what Orphan First Kill is like.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, Orphan First Kill, official trailer, Paramount Plus.
Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go.
It's a snowy town.
What is he doing here?
Julia Stiles.
Oh, it's Julia Stiles. Was she in the first one?
Nope.
Oh.
So she presumably wanted an easy paycheck, and fair play to her.
4 years is a long time.
Yeah.
What she needs right now is her family.
Esther?
So, how does she know Esther?
Sweetheart, it's Mommy.
It's her missing daughter.
Ah.
Well,
Oh my
well,
god,
watch the
she
trailer.
looks the same.
Welcome home, Esther.
No, she does look a little bit older.
Just as it was.
It It's lovely to be back. I miss my family very much.
Oh, so
Our goal here is helping
She
Esther
adopted-
acclimate back into life within the family unit.
is she adopted in the first one as well?
Yes, in the first one she's adopted.
No, in this one, sorry.
Oh, in this one, I think so, but I think it's not the missing Esther. It's not the Esther they think it is.
Anything you want to tell me about your time away?
How's that possible? 4 years ago, she was still drawing stick figures.
Esther's behavior has been so...
Ah, so Esther now draws things. She looks horrible. Mummy?
I did notice some inconsistencies. What are you getting at?
She looks terrifying.
Felt like a performance.
But also really old.
If you're not Esther, who are you?
Ah. Okay, I understand now. So this child went missing and then she comes back,
But it's not her.
but it's not her.
Someone else.
I made it for you.
Oh, is she poisoning? What? Weirdly, the actress looks a lot like Julia Stiles. They look quite similar.
Yeah, she does. Maybe that's why they... Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Oh, I think I would enjoy watching this. This looks fun.
It looks pretty fun, right?
Yeah, looks like a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
I'm intrigued to see it.
How was the first Orphan?
Great.
Is it
Like,
scary?
a lot of fun. I don't know. I think it's too silly to be scary.
okay? Because this looks like I would watch it and just go, oh,
Well, I mean, this looks exactly the same as the first one, so you should check out the original if you're interested.
okay.
But no, it's interesting that they've decided so many years later to make a prequel, but have Isabel. But Isabel Fuhrman kind of, it's like you couldn't have someone else play Freddy Krueger. Like, she does that character so well in the original Orphan that to replace her with somebody else would be a crime. So, yeah, there you go. There's Orphan First Kill.
Nice.
First Kill.
And then she becomes an orphan, and then she goes to another family.
Yeah, but I think the whole idea is that she just does this over and over again. She'll, like, go to a family, pretend to be some missing child, or get adopted or something, and then kill the family, and then, like, try and do it again. She's like a crazy woman. And I think it was sort of in that trailer, but I think there was a thing in the original where she was, like, trying to kill the mum so she could be with the dad romantically.
Nice.
Which obviously is, yeah. But then she's, like, 25, so fair play to her. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Fair play.
Fair play.
Oh.
Right, shall we get into our main topic for today?
Yeah, main topico.
Main topico, Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. So Stranger Things, rewind. Today we're going to go over our thoughts on the first 3 volumes, so that we can talk in detail about the more recent 4th volume next episode. So this is a show that premiered on the 15th of July 2016, almost exactly 6 years ago to today. Stars a variety of people who have become extremely famous and successful based on their appearance in Stranger Things. We've got Millie Bobby Brown plays 11.
Yes.
Finn Wolfhard, the surprisingly named Finn Wolfhard, plays Mike Wheeler. Caleb McLaughlin plays Lucas Sinclair. Noah Schnapp plays Will Byers, and Gaten Matarazzo plays Dustin Henderson. That's your main sort of core cast of young people, joined by Sadie Sink playing Max Mayfield in season 2. Slightly older teenagers, we've got Charlie Heaton from Yorkshire in the UK playing Jonathan Byers, Will's older brother. Natalia Dyer plays Nancy Wheeler, Mike's older sister, and Joe Keery plays Steve Harrington, the greatest character of all time.
This greatest man alive.
Joined by Maya Hawke playing Robin Buckley in season 3, but she makes an immediate strong impression in my opinion, and we'll talk about that more as we go. And then as we get towards the also important to mention is Shannon Purser plays Barbara, a character that is not given the screen time she deserved in the opinions of most
No,
fans.
it was too short.
Justice for Barbara, along with Dacre Montgomery playing Billy Hargrove, Max's older brother. Amazingly performed, hateful character. And then we go into the older characters, which mainly you're looking at David Harbour playing Jim Hopper. I've seen him described as the Gandalf of Stranger Things, which I think is a pretty good description. Winona Ryder playing Joyce Byers, the iconic Winona Ryder playing Joyce Byers, Will and Jonathan's mother. And then you've got various mad scientists such as Matthew Modine's Dr. Martin Brenner and Paul Reiser's Dr. Owens. And Paul Reiser comes in season 2 and begins a bit of a trend of casting iconic 80s actors in pivotal roles, including Robert Englund in the most recent season, and Lord of the Rings is Sean Astin in the second season.
Amazing. When I saw him, I was like, what?
So a pretty stacked cast. All of these people have become much, much bigger as a result of being in Stranger Things, because it's truly been a ridiculous phenomenon.
Did you say Brett Gelman as Murray?
Oh yeah, no, I forgot about Brett. I think it's Gelman.
Brett Gelman.
I think Brett Gelman as Murray. He pops up in season 3 initially, but plays quite a small role.
Yeah.
But that is very good in it, and then is amazing.
I think it's got one of the funniest lines in Stranger Things in season 3.
Why? Which line?
He says, "Did you enjoy the pullout?"
Oh yeah. Very good. So.
And after that, I was like, this guy needs to be always there. Always needs to be there.
Well, I think the creators agreed. The creators being the Duffer Brothers, who created Stranger Things, and have become a huge creative force in entertainment as a result, I think. Basically by taking Steven Spielberg, Stephen King, popping it in a blender, combining it, and, not to downplay what they've done, but they have used their influences perfectly to create this wonderful, half Stephen King pure horror, and then half Steven Spielberg, sort of that sense of wonder that he got through his Amblin movies such as E.T. and The Goonies and those 80s adventure movies. It's great. It's so good. It's so well done. So let's start with our sort of backgrounds on it. I remember, because I'm a massive Stephen King fan, and because I'm a massive Steven Spielberg fan and stuff, mainly because I'm a huge Stephen King fan, I was pretty excited for Stranger Things before it ever came out. When they first put the trailers out, I remember watching the trailers and being like, this looks pretty cool and the soundtrack looks interesting, so I watched it sort of as soon as it aired, not to kind of try and be a hipster about it, but I did. It's true, I did. I was on board from day one and have sort of watched and loved each season it's been released. How about you, Alex?
I did not watch it until a month ago. So I started this year because I had no interest in it for some reason.
How come? Why did you have such little
faith? I have no idea. I guess when it came out, it was a massive period of transition for us, and so we moved away from a country. We moved away from, was it not 6 years ago? Yeah.
2016. So yeah. It was
so it was a massive transition, and there was just I missed out completely, and then I was just like, I don't know, for some reason I had no interest in it, and then the thing about season 4 and everybody around me finally talking about it. I was like, okay, I'll have a watch, and I watched the entire season. They had all 4 seasons in a month.
So do you like it?
I absolutely love it. In fact, I think I'm going to watch it again.
Wow.
Slower, and just notice more things, because it's just so good.
Yeah, I did. When I knew season 4 was kind of imminently arriving, I rewatched the first 3 seasons in a month or so. And it was pretty wild, because the first season did come out like 6 years ago. At this point, it's been quite a while. So seeing all of that, seeing how young they are in that original season, and some of the hints and little hints towards what's going to happen in the future and stuff was pretty cool. And yeah, it holds up. I was surprised by how much the first season held up. So let's talk about the first season a little bit. It introduces us to all of the primary characters and players, movers and shakers. Episode 1 opens with Will Byers, Mike Wheeler, Lucas Sinclair and Dustin Henderson playing their weekly game of Dungeons and Dragons, which, by the way, has become a massive thing since Stranger Things. Like, the place I work in has got a Dungeons and Dragons club for young people, and it's unbelievably popular.
Wow.
And it just feels...
But it's
like
weird because you
Stranger
used to
Things
play
is to
Dungeons
thank
and
for.
Dragons, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I grew up with people around me playing Dungeons and Dragons, so I guess is like a revamped the reignited the Dungeons and Dragons flame.
Yeah, definitely to a degree, but I think in the UK it really wasn't a thing.
Okay.
Particularly. Like, I didn't play it until I lived in Japan.
Because I
think in the UK
had a lot of
especially, it was
friends in
quite-
Italy when I was growing up playing Dungeons and Dragons, and like our next door neighbor, I remember going to his house and there was the Dungeons and Dragon table that they didn't finish the game the weekend before, and then nothing could be touched, and then they would finish it after. So so I
it might have just been the scene I was part, where I grew up and stuff, but it didn't have much of a presence in the UK as far as I could tell when I was growing up. But it's blown up now, which is cool. So yeah, they're playing Dungeons and Dragons because it's set in the 80s. Season 1 is set in the very early 80s, I think. Before parents knew that there was danger in the world for their children, they finished the game, and Dustin, Lucas, and Will all have to cycle back to their homes, and on the way, Will goes missing, kicking off the main sort of through line of season 1, which is what has happened to Will Byers. Where is he? And through this, through the investigations of Hopper, Joyce, and Will's friends, we discover the Upside Down.
Yes.
And what is contained within the Upside Down, which is a Demogorgon. Which I love the way this show uses Dungeons and Dragons monster names to name their monsters. It's such a cool little, like... Why not call it that? Like, if that's their reference point for kind of scary things, then call it a Demogorgon.
Yeah.
Which kind of really quickly became a super iconic monster design. What do you think of the Demogorgon's design?
It's incredible because I think it is designed for the worst things that children can think of a monster, like the long hands that can grab you, the skinny long body that goes a little bit, and then this flower shaped horrible thing full of teeth is without a face, because it hasn't got a face, it hasn't got eyes, it hasn't got a nose, just this like this bud that opens into this horrible thing. And I think it's designed perfectly well to be scary enough but not too scary, but to give you the creeps, how it moves and how it does things. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, because that first season is pretty much just the Demogorgon in terms of like creepy things from, and since then they've introduced like the Demo Dogs.
Yeah.
They've introduced the Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
The big physical, fleshy Mind Flayer from season 3.
Yeah.
And then Vecna in the most recent season.
Vecna.
And I don't think any of the other designs quite match that original.
No, because they're not
Demogorgon.
as scary.
Yeah.
They're not as like...
But they're not as iconic either, I don't think. They're not as immediately like...
Yeah,
Iconic.
they're not also conventionally scary as this. This is a proper monster.
Yeah.
And whilst, Vecna is just a body, and although I think he's terrifying, but in a different way.
Yeah, but it's for different reasons.
This is like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty horrific. That the bit at the end of season 1 where it breaks into the real world and Steve's going at it with the baseball bat and stuff is genuinely pretty tense because you know that they're up against something that could absolutely tear them apart.
Yeah. Because you're not really sure how to kill them either, because they don't really die. Like, you shoot them and they go, wah, 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 and then you burn them, but they kind of melt. It's like, how do you kill these guys?
You get a little psychic girl with big powers to just tear it apart into atoms.
Yeah.
It would appear.
Yeah.
That seems to be the only way you can truly kill it.
Yeah. True.
So, yeah, Will goes missing. We follow Joyce as she kind of looks for her son. People aren't taking her seriously. There's a bit that I'd totally forgotten happened in season 1 where Hawkins' lab, because it all ends up coming back to Hawkins' lab, which is this sort of secret government lab doing experiments in Hawkins, which we learn a lot more about in season 4. But in season 1, all we really know is that they had 11, she escaped, and they want her back.
Yeah.
And in order to sort of distract people from Will Byers' disappearance, they just invent the idea that he drowned in a quarry to try and stop people from investigating it, and they just get this plastic doll and tell everyone it's a dead boy.
I know. I'm so glad there's a plastic doll, because I thought they were actually gonna. Because when she cuts him open or something, I was like, did they get another kid or something? But it was a plastic doll. Because my thought was like they put another kid there.
Even though I knew it wasn't real, I still got upset by the episode that ends with them finding the body.
Yeah.
And Joyce finding out, and I think there's a David Bowie song that plays. I think it's Heroes or something. It really, even watching it on a second time when I knew that Will hadn't died, it really upset me. It was really moving. They're really good at hitting those, especially using music to do it as well.
Yeah. The music is perfect here from the moments when they're like together and they're having a good time. There's kind of like the really nice 80s adventure soundtrack. And then when they use actual songs, they know how to get you here.
Yeah.
Especially in the last season.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What was your take early on Hopper? His introduction as a character is the camera slowly panning through his cabin, and he's passed out from probably drinking the night before.
Yeah.
And he just looks like kind of a mess, and he wakes up and lights a cigarette and turns up late to the office. And clearly doesn't have much interest in being a sheriff. Like, well, how did you find that character as the first season went along?
He has no will to live, really, at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And then the more the season goes, the more he finds some meaning that he had lost. And there's a really amazing evolution of Hopper throughout all the seasons.
Yeah.
And the more you get to know him, the more you love him. And as an actor, he did a great job as well to, like David Harbour, to kind of like make you not really like him and just feel like you're a waste of space. But then also feeling sorry for him, because clearly when you see him because he's taking pills and he's smoking and he's not happy, and you clearly, you know, that something must have gone wrong. Yeah. And again, because we just watched Midnight Mass, he's the policeman that went to a different community because something else happened in his community.
Oh, what Rahul Kohli in Midnight Mass? Yeah.
So
that's true.
I had that in my head, so I was like, oh, he must have left somewhere to be here, because if not, he wouldn't be like that. But then, you know, he finds a reason to live, and he finds something that makes him want to change. Yeah. And you can see, because at the beginning you can see that you don't think he might not be a very good sheriff. Is he a sheriff?
I think Sheriff Hopper.
Yeah.
I think that the first time you start to realise how good he is at actually being a sheriff and being a detective is that first time that they go to Hawkins' labs and they feed him and his two deputies a load of nonsense to try and get rid of them, and Hopper immediately is just like, no, this isn't right. And he goes back later and sneaks in. And also the first time you really start to love Hopper, I think, is the first time that he encounters a problem and solves it by punching someone in the face, knocking him out, which he does over and over again throughout all of it. But it's always any time that Hopper just knocks somebody out to deal with something is a pretty great moment. I think.
But also like when he gets drugged and beaten up, and then he finds himself, and he just goes, and he knows that everything it could have been bugged. Like not everybody would think about that. And it's so interesting because he just goes through everything, and he knows that something is wrong. So you the more the seasons go on, the more you realize what kind of person he is.
Yeah.
And
yeah, he also picks up, like, they go to Hawkins' labs and they show him security footage of the night Will went missing to try and be like, look, he didn't sneak in. But then Hopper's like, afterwards he's like, it wasn't raining that night, though. And that was raining on that security footage. So, like, he's got a Sherlock Holmes edge to him in terms of, like, just picking up on things and being really good at sort of solving problems. And I think he's one of the best characters that they kind of invented for the show.
Yeah.
Season 1 also begins the journey, one of the best journeys, I think, for any character, of Steve Harrington from bully to hero.
The beloved Steve Harrington.
Yeah. What did you think of him after the first couple of episodes? Because he does some almost unforgivably horrible things.
He's horrible.
He smashes that camera. Him.
Yeah, he smashes Jonathan's camera because he took pictures of...
I mean, Jonathan was being a naughty little boy.
I don't understand. Like, when he was taking pictures, so then one night, Jonathan is looking for his brother, Will, and he sees Nancy Wheeler, Steve Harrington, and 2 other people that I hated. Thank God they disappeared. And they're like having a party with Bob as well, who goes missing, and he starts taking pictures of Nancy getting undressed or something. And I thought that was
her
really.
And Steve have just slept together, I think. And
no, it was just before. Was it not before? Or was it
before
after?
She's undressing, or
I
after
don't know, but it's not a moment where you should take pictures of a person. So that I thought it was pretty dodgy.
I really think that, like, whereas Steve's evolution as a character throughout the seasons feels very natural.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of just went, right, we need Jonathan to be a different character now because we want people to like him, and they just dropped. Like, he's very, very creepy and weird in the first half of season 1. And for no particular reason, he does end up becoming a quite well-adjusted person.
Yeah.
I think because they just want him to be a character that people relate to a bit more.
Yeah. But yeah, so Steve Harrington in the beginning, you just go, oh, go away. Like, Nancy, get with Jonathan. Come on. But then it just amazing.
Well, there's that great bit in season 1 where he kind of dumps his 2 horrible mates who are just awful. And then he goes and helps clean up that, because he's like put a big thing that says Nancy Slut Wheeler, hasn't he, on the cinema?
Yeah.
And he helps clean that up. And then he's got no part to play in any of the supernatural goings on until he turns up at Jonathan's house, the buyer's house, at the end of season 1, and suddenly just walks into a situation that he's not at all prepared for.
No.
But because he's gone on that growth as a character, he picks up a baseball bat and helps. He fights. He becomes part of the team in that moment.
Yeah.
I love that. That's such a great moment in season 1 where he like just acts and starts to become that character people love. And then they team him up in the second season with Dustin, which is a very clever move.
Amazing, isn't it? Incredible. Yeah.
And he does have the best hair in the game.
He's got the best hair. But what I find amazing is like all the older kids look exactly the same now, 6 years later. Yeah. So they haven't. It's amazing how in your 20s you don't change that much.
Yeah.
The kids that went from 11 to 16, 18, 12, 18, they're completely different human beings.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how like these actors, the older kids, like Joe Keery hasn't really changed, but Finn Wolfhard is a man now. And then you go, what? It's amazing.
It is amazing. It's something else. And let's talk a bit about 11 in the first season. What did you think of 11?
I really liked 11 in the first season. I thought it was really, first of all, the kids are incredible at acting, like all of them.
Yeah, it's cast so well.
Cast
no
incredible. And the fact that Millie Bobby Brown managed to give so much character to a character that doesn't speak is amazing. And I loved her, and I loved the connection that 11 and Mike Wheeler have. There is a special connection there. Even like as chemistry, and it's really lovely and it's believable, and and every time there is 11, it's just amazing. I don't know, those kids together just work so well. And I love that she kind of like a little bit rocks the boat for the boys, and it kind of creates a little bit of a earthquake in the group.
Definitely.
But I really, I think she's amazing. She's an amazing actor, and it's an amazing character, 11.
Yeah, she is, and I like you saying the fact that she barely speaks in the first season, but Millie Bobby Brown gets so much out of it is wild.
Yeah, it's wild.
She does end up finding her voice, though, for sure. She talks quite a bit as we go through.
Yeah.
But no, so season 1 ends with a big showdown in the high school. The Hawkins lab people turn up. The Demogorgon arrives.
Yeah.
Will is rescued from the Upside Down. 11 uses her powers to destroy the Demogorgon, and she vanishes. Who knows where to? And everything is well, except right at the very end of the season, we see Will vomit a little slug into her sink.
Yes.
Do a little
slug
vomit there. Blop.
Yes. So we know it's not finished.
Yeah, it's going to continue. And it did a year and 3 months later in October of 2017.
But before we carry on to second season, let's talk about Joyce Byers'
of course.
house.
Why?
Because throughout the season, every year, every season, her house gets destroyed. So this is the first time that she completely destroys her house because she's speaking with Will through electricity. And her house gets demolished basically through everything. And Joe Keery gets beaten up.
Yeah.
So the Byers' house and Joe Keery end up very bad in the first season, and it seems to be a pattern.
Yeah, it is a bit of a pattern, actually, I suppose. I mean, she does basically live in a cabin in the woods.
Yeah, but she doesn't have to destroy it every time.
No, true. Well, she can't stop the Mind Flayer from ripping the roof off.
I guess.
She's off dealing with Russians at the fair, isn't she, when that happens?
Yeah, it's just every time. And in season 4, when something happens again, it's like, oh no.
And it's a different house in season 4, isn't it?
House.
Yeah, that's amazing, that scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, the house very much gets destroyed.
Yeah. And it always seems like Steve Harrington ends up the worst every season. Like he just ends up with
because he throws himself into danger because he's an absolute hero. Yeah. He doesn't care about getting demolished. He wants to save Dustin and the rest of them, and he's just wonderful. Yeah. I love Steve Harrington.
And at the end of this chapter, season 1, 11 and Mike are much in love, but 11 has disappeared. We think she might be dead. Steve Harrington, so Nancy Wheeler clearly loves Jonathan, but she's back with Steve Harrington because he helped.
Yes. But when season 2 starts, she's with Jonathan, isn't she?
No.
Oh, is she not? Oh, no, she's not. Yeah. No,
not yet. She's not. Yeah, so we end up like this. Papa is dead.
Oh, Martin Brenner.
Papa is by end 1. Are we spoiling it? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's a full-on spoiler. So Papa dies.
Will is back. 11 is gone. Yeah. Papa is gone.
Yeah.
Nancy is with Steve.
We do see Hopper leave some Eggos in a box in the woods.
Yes, he
What does that
leaves Eggos in the box in the woods. So maybe 11 is not gone.
Yeah.
We don't know.
And
Maybe. Very
then-
good. What did you think of season 1?
It's amazing. It's the second best season.
It is the second best season. I want to know which one is your first best season.
Well, we'll talk about it later when we get to the end of this episode.
Oh. Yeah, so very good season. Very good start to a season. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it is perfect. It's incredible.
It's so good.
And then we go to season 2, which up top, I'll say, probably the bottom for me, season 2.
Yeah, not the best.
Not the
Still
best.
enjoyable.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
enjoyable. But it doesn't move things forwards enough. It's sort of, it feels like a greatest hits repeat of a lot of stuff that worked in season 1. It does a good thing of introducing Max, who's a
Yes.
character that I adore.
Yeah.
Probably maybe my third favourite character behind Hopper and Steve, or Stephen
Yeah.
Hopper. Stephen
Yeah.
Hopper, imagine him. And also introduces Billy. We introduced those two characters in the first episode of season 2. And we don't really find out until near the end of season 2 why they are the way they are. Max is very sort of socially awkward, doesn't really want to make friends, skateboarder, video gamer, and Billy is just a horrible shithead.
Yeah,
Billy,
horrible.
who all the women adore him because he has even better hair than Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Season 2 also opens on... So it hit Netflix in October and it's set in Halloween. It kind of pushed the 80s thing a little bit quite far by having them dress up as the Ghostbusters
Perfect
for
costumes.
Halloween. Yeah, they
Perfect
have
costumes.
Hollywood production level costume.
Yeah.
For the kids there.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the thing that I dislike the most about season 2 is it does a thing a lot of TV does, and a thing that this show does over and over again, in keeping characters separate because you want to have a big reunion moment, but really just let them be together. Like season 4, I love season 4, but it really suffers from that aspect. But in this season, keeping Mike and 11 apart for the entire season, it kind of makes 11 feel quite detached from the rest of it, I thought. Like her journey and her story in season 2 is really separate from everyone else's. Even Hopper, because she kind of ends up being separated from him for a while.
Yeah. And I think that was because she's not with them. And I think together, the beauty about Stranger Things is together they thrive.
Yeah. I mean, it also, like, Stranger Things often... It gets gold out of unexpected character pairings, like Steve and Dustin in season 2, which is one of the highlights. But they're not pairing 11 with anyone in this. They're just...
Yeah.
Well, they pair her with various different people, but they're all sort of guest stars and things.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But the main thrust of season 2 is that there is a even more terrifying presence in the Upside Down, called the Mind Flayer, which kind of manifests in the Upside Down as an enormous cloud beast thing, spider-shaped.
Cloud, yeah.
Yeah, it is a spider, I guess. Season 4 sort of confirms it's spidery because of events in season 4. If you think about the jar.
Okay.
Jar.
Yeah.
I think that's what that's meant to be.
Okay.
But it kind of looks like other than the shape of it, it kind of looks physically like a huge swirling black cloud.
Yeah.
Shaped into the shape of a spider. And it has formed a connection with Will, who is repeatedly being drawn into the Upside Down with visions, and through Will, it wants to manifest in the real world and take over the real world, etc.
Yeah.
So
and
it is down to...
Yeah, sorry.
Go on.
No, carry on.
No. Well, it's down to our heroes to kind of fight back and stop the Mind Flayer from taking over Hawkins and the world.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, and because of these visions that he has, he goes to the... What's it called, that place?
Oh, Hawkins' lab.
He goes to Hawkins' lab, and there's a new doctor.
Paul Reiser from Aliens.
Yeah. And you're not really sure about him And
yeah, but he's wonderful.
He's wonderful.
I love that he's good. It's such a good twist that the Mad Doctor in this season is good.
Yeah.
And remains good up through season 4. Yeah.
Oh. Season 4 is the one with the feels. It's like, no. And he goes, and you think that maybe this doctor is trying to kind of use them or, trick them, but he's just trying to help Will, who is having horrible PTSD. That's what they're calling it, but really is not. He's connected to the Upside Down. Yeah.
And another key cast member introduced for season 2, only season 2, is the Goonies' own Sean Astin.
Yeah.
As Joyce.
I was like, when I saw him, I was like, yeah.
What's his character called in it? I've forgotten.
What's his character called? It's called Bob Newby.
Bob Newby.
Yeah.
A very sweet man who knows about computers.
Again, that you think he's just like the blandest of the bland, but by the end, he just becomes the hero.
Yeah, he steps up and saves the day.
Yeah.
Season 2 kind of all builds towards a big confrontation in Hawkins' lab, where another gate to the Upside Down is torn open by the Mind Flayer, and there's also a network of tunnels linking Hawkins to the Upside Down underneath the town that they manage to draw. Will draws a map of these tunnels, and Hopper gets trapped in there at various points, and it all of that to me feels a bit too reminiscent of stuff in season 1. I thought it wasn't an interesting enough idea to have this, like, Joyce's house covered in the map of the thing is just doing the fairy lights again. It's just, let's cover Joyce's house in something again. It feels sort of like they're struggling to come up with a new twist on it a little bit, which they dealt with. Like season 3 is very different.
Yeah, but I don't know. But I enjoyed the season. It's not the best, but I enjoyed the fact that they reutilize some of the things before, because it's not completely detached from what is happening. Is like the Upside Down is still kind of manifesting itself through Will, let's say. And I think I quite like the fact they didn't make it too new, because if not, it would have been. I think it would have not carried on. So although it's not my favorite, I think the idea of like drawing the map, and I liked it, and the fact that then the episode The Spy, where Will is like becomes like the Mind Flayer because the Mind Flayer is taking over his body, is amazing, and Noah Schnapp, he's incredible. Like,
I think that's one of the highlights of season 2 is that he doesn't get much of a role to play in season 1 because he's missing for almost all of it. And his kind of presence in season 2 is something that's pretty great. He has it's off topic, but his haircut in season 4 is quite unfortunate. I don't know why they did that to that poor young man.
Oh, but I love it. and when in I think that's probably my favorite episode, because then he goes, this is where you need to go, and then it's not him saying it, and then you go, oh crap, it's a trap.
They also mine a lot of good drama as well from season 2, from the fact that these young people are going through puberty now, and particularly Mike and Lucas are starting to recognise their interest in the opposite sex a little bit more, particularly Eleven and Max. Whereas Dustin and especially Will are very much still wanting to just play Dungeons and Dragons in their rooms. And I think Will is a really interesting character, where I think now there's been some confirmation about where his kind of sexuality lies and stuff through season 4, but you could almost in season 2 and 3, I felt that you could almost view him as being almost an attempt to portray someone as being asexual and identifying in that way.
I feel like he's just, because kids grow up in such different ways.
Yeah, definitely.
And different times. And some kids are like, find out about the opposite sex or the same sex or whatever sooner than other kids, when they go, well, I just want to play Dungeons and Dragons. And I think it's perfect that Will is Will is and Dustin for a little bit are like that still, because not all kids like the same things at the same time. And I don't know. I feel like he still wants his friends. I think he's, even in season 4 when you're not really sure, I think he just wants to have his friends and go back to the life that he had before.
Yeah,
he's not
I think in season 4 it's fairly clear.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well,
I didn't see him that way, but maybe we will find out more in.
We have found out more because the actors Noah Schnapp has come out and said yes, this is exactly what it is, and
okay,
it's clear.
Okay.
Yeah, that he's gay.
Good.
Yeah. There's a very good scene in season 4 where he's having a conversation with Mike and then just turns away and sort of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Poor young man.
Poor young man.
So season 2 also. So 11's journey in season 2, she's living with Hopper. An amazing father-daughter relationship kind of builds between them throughout season 2 and 3. That is sort of great to watch these two people who have lost. Hopper's lost a daughter. 11 has never really had a strong father figure.
Yeah.
Seeing these two lost people find each other, I think, is one of the most strong emotional through lines of the whole thing. But she ends up leaving, being removed from them, going on a journey to find out more about her own past, which is intermittently interesting occasionally, but largely quite dull and a bit of an unfortunate use of Millie Bobby Brown's talents. Yeah. Culminating in the penultimate episode of the season where she goes to Chicago to discover her younger sister or older sister, 8, who confusingly, unlike all of the other experimented on children that we meet in season 4, doesn't have the powers that 11 has. No. Instead has some kind of a ability to make people see things that aren't there. And she lives in a film, in something that would only exist in a movie. She lives in a sort of warehouse with 4 or 5 other wayward people who are in a gang, and they do something. They kill people that have connected to Hawkins' lab. And so that this one episode has none of the regular characters other than 11. It's set entirely outside of Hawkins in Chicago, and is universally sort of despised by the fan base. What did you think of?
When I first watched it, I didn't mind it because I was like, okay, 11's still trying to figure out her powers because she left Hawkins' lab before she managed to realise exactly what her powers are, which then we'll find out why she doesn't really remember much later on. And so in this episode, her sister 8 tells her how to use her powers and how to, you have to think just about bad things or so whatever, and her powers grow stronger. So I didn't mind this episode, but the more I watched the seasons, the more I realized that because she never comes back, 8, it was pointless. Like if 8 had come back at some point to Hawkins or somewhere or another, then I would have liked the episode, but she's disappeared now. So for me, it's pointless. So, because you said, everybody, after I told you about the episode, and I watched that episode, and you said, everybody hates that episode. And I didn't really mind it. It's just the fact that they don't come back. So it was just, it's just a one more episode to keep Mike and 11 apart.
But, the other issue of it beyond that is that the placement of it in the season, it comes just as everything has come to a head in Hawkins and you're ready for that final showdown. Yeah. And then, you've got to spend an hour watching all this unconnected stuff happen, where really the only thing that happens that matters is 11 gets a goth makeover, which is great. Yeah. She looks great.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But also she learns to control her powers a bit more, which, it's I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to do the bit in The Empire Strikes Back where Luke goes off to Dagobah and trains with Yoda and gets stronger. And then rejoins everyone else to go and fight on,
I guess,
in Cloud City or whatever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work because you're not getting to spend time with a fun little puppet in a swamp. You're having to spend time with an idiot in a mohawk.
Yeah.
in a warehouse in Chicago, and it's just not interesting stuff. It's a real pity. It's the one genuine misstep I think they've made throughout all of Stranger Things is that. But never mind, because she does come back, and one of the best episodes I've ever done is that finale of season 2 with the big battle at Hawkins Labs with all the demo dogs and Bob Newby sacrificing himself to rescue the others, and Hopper and 11 going down in that lift to close the gate, and Hopper fighting off all the demo dogs and climbing the walls.
Oh, yeah.
11 closes the gate. I mean, it's amazing stuff. And I think season 2 is good, but it's the one that I have the least affection for. But I like all of it. I like all of the seasons. I don't think it's a bad season, but I think it's definitely rests on the laurels of season 1 for me, just slightly too much, and doesn't move forwards enough. But, introduces Max, which is great, and other stuff that's important.
And it ends perfectly. It ends with a snowball.
Yeah.
Yes.
How does it end with a snowball?
The snowball. They're having a ball, and like Max and
Oh, I thought you meant like a
No.
The ball, the kiss,
and they all get together, and it's lovely. And in season 2, is it season 2 where there's the amazing scene with Murray where they go, Jonathan and
because Jonathan and Nancy are working at the newspaper together. Or is that
no, that's season 3. So in season 2, Jonathan and Nancy go to Murray to close, like to put Hawking's lab on they have to go there.
Murray's introduced early in the season as a bit of a crackpot at the police station.
Yeah.
Insisting that there's...
Yeah. And so they go to him to kind of tell the world about Hawking's lab and how bad it is. You know, they send the letters, but it doesn't matter why they go there.
Yeah, they send all the letters, that's right. That's right.
But they get drunk, and then they go, oh no, we're just friends, blah, 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 blah. And so it kind of has the moment where Nancy's with Jonathan going to Murray's house, and then in that moment, Steve has done something bad towards Nancy. I can't remember what. And so he goes to Nancy's house. But as he goes to Nancy's house to apologise, Dustin gets him and he goes, let's go. And that's when the friendship between Dustin and Steve start.
Yeah.
That's when Nancy and Jonathan get together, and then they're having breakfast, and he asks about the pull-out bed, but instead of saying the pull-out bed, it's like, how was the pull-out? Because Jonathan and Nancy
we get it. We get
a lovely encounter.
We get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why I think I like season 2, because also there's like kind of the establishment of different groups, different loves, and
yeah. Season 3, though.
Yes.
Controversial season. Bit of a Marmite season. Loved by some, detested by others. Big change in tone. Came quite a while after season... So season 2 was 27th of October 2017. July 4th, 2019. So a full year, almost a year and a half later. Yeah. Or over a year and a half later, actually.
Yeah.
A big wait for season 3. And it's the mall season.
Yeah.
A lot of it takes place in and around the new Starlight Mall that's open in Hawkins. All the characters spend more time together in season 3, which is what I love about it. Like, I really like season 3.
I love season 3.
I really love it. We see sort of 11 and Mike are kind of happily together, but Hopper is struggling to deal with Mike being over at his house so often, and 11 sort of starts to become a little bit more independent and have her own opinions, and her and Max bond a lot in this season, which is lovely to see, reaching a point where 11 dumps Mike's ass, which is a great scene.
Yeah,
at the mall.
I dump your ass.
I dump your ass. And Max almost is a bit of an bad influence on 11 at times in this season, where she encourages her to use her powers to spy on the boys and things.
Yeah, oh, I love that.
Which is a really good scene.
Yeah.
Because the boys are having just a horrible 80s teenager style conversation about girls.
Yeah.
how little they understand them. The main through line of the season itself is that there are, and I think this is the thing that people, it's a big tonal shift, and it's very silly in a way, because it's this time, rather than being about Hawkins' lab, it's about there being evil Russians underneath Starlight Mall doing experiments on the Upside Down, trying to reopen the gate into the Upside Down, and Steve stumbles upon this along with Lucas's younger sister, who's an interesting character, and newcomer played by Maya Hawke, who is perfect. You think she's been in it since season 1? I think she fits in so well. Working in the ice cream parlor Scoops Ahoy with Steve, and Dustin, who rejoins Steve. So you've got they split off into groups a little bit again this season, where you've got Steve, Robin, Lucas's sister, whose name Erica, and Dustin are kind of investigating the mall, finding their way underneath into the not the Upside Down, but just the secret Russian base below the mall. 11, Mike and Lucas and Max end up kind of learning about the Mind Flayer's latest plan, which is to take over Billy initially, and then through Billy kill other people and absorb the physical matter into a kind of physical manifestation of the Mind Flayer, which ends up being this huge, disgusting, massive flesh. And they kind of fight that. And then you've got Joyce and Harper, who are sort of, after the tragic death of Bob Newby in season 2, Joyce and Harper are sort of doing a bit of a courting ritual, slowly deciding whether or not they're gonna.
I love their friendship.
A lot of people really don't like Hopper in this season, though. They think he behaves like a real. He does behave pretty badly in times, like.
But it's a period of transition. Like, he's gone from total nobody I don't care about anyone, I don't want to live, to then starting to care and having feelings and not knowing how to deal with them.
No,
I think he's perfect in this season, because he's just like, I don't know how to do this.
I'll tell you what's perfect for him in this season is that Hawaiian shirt he wears. I love that shirt he wears. We also get a minor character that's easily forgotten but very good. Is Carrie Elwes plays an amazing slimy mayor in this season who is determined to get re-elected and is working with the Russians but doesn't really realise it, I don't think. He's just using them to get more political power to run this 4th of July celebration, and he's horrible and gross. Yeah. And so Joyce drags Hopper into an investigation as to why magnets keep falling off a fridge, which takes them back to Murray with a Russian who... That's a horrible... I hate that bit where the Russian man dies. He's so sweet.
I know, I loved him.
Yeah, they kidnap a Russian guy. They don't understand what he's saying, so they take him to Murray, who helps translate and then really bonds with this guy, and they all end up in the fair together, and they tell Murray to stay in the car with the guy, but he's like, you need to go and taste a corn dog. Yeah. And they go and get corn dogs, and then one of the bad Russians finds them and murders this poor Russian man. And Murray is obviously distraught, and it's just horrible. Yeah. And then all culminates in the Battle of Starlight Mall, where the Mind Flayer arrives to attack the gang while Steve, Robin, Dustin, and Eric are all escaping from the Russians below the surface, and 11 has to use more of her powers than ever before, to the point where she loses them. Yeah. A great season. I love this season.
Me too.
The only bad thing in this season is Dustin's girlfriend.
Yeah, I guess, there's that moment where,
they sing the Never-Ending Story song.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
Yeah.
It's very silly.
But yeah, I think I love this season. I love the fact that they're all together and they're all doing things, and they're, it's a bit lighter maybe.
I like that though. I like the lighter tone in this season, and all the clothes are very bright. And it takes that's 80s as you go further into the 80s, and that aesthetic was bigger and bigger, getting towards the 90s kind of styles. I really enjoy that aspect of it. Well, when Max and 11 go shopping in the mall is a very fun scene.
I love that. Yeah. And I really like the new group: Dustin, Steve, Erica, and Robin. I think it works really well because Erica's so annoying at the beginning, and you go,
Yeah.
ah. But then she becomes one of the main characters, and you kind of really start loving her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really do.
And when Steve Harrington and Robin are like drugged up.
That's so wonderful. All the scenes of them drugged up after being interrogated by the Russians, and Steve's trying to tell Robin that he loves her, and Robin's trying to work out how to tell Steve that she's gay.
Not into him or into guys.
Is really nice. And,
Yeah.
And then it should just be the standard now for stuff, but the fact that when Steve finds it out, he still loves Robin do you know what I mean? He doesn't kind of react badly to finding out, like, because he's such a good guy. He doesn't.
Yeah.
I love all of it. I love Robin. I love Steve.
Yeah.
The scene at the end where they're trying to get a job in the video shop is great.
Yeah.
But Steve says his favourite film is, what is it, Fast Times at Ridgemont High or something?
Yeah, and I love in this one, it's just such a homage to the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's such like a love letter to the 80s but also there's also a bit of a political thing about malls stopping small businesses from being open.
Yeah,
and
there's
changing.
a few scenes of Joyce's work where the shop's struggling because of the mall and things.
Yeah, and so it kind of shows like the rise of capitalism and real true capitalism in the 80s, and how these malls changed the structure of a city. So I really enjoyed that of this, and it's just after 2 series where you're kind of like, this is kind of like a nice break, but there's lots of stuff happens. 11 gets bitten by this horrible by what does she get bitten by?
I don't remember her getting bitten.
Yeah, she gets bitten, and then they have to squeeze the thing out of her leg with heat.
Oh yeah, I can't remember what it is. It's like, is it a sort of tentacle thing from the Mind
Yeah,
Flayer?
yeah, something like that. And she gets bitten, and she's classic. Max and Lucas kind of are together, not together, and there's also like those kind of things of boys and girls at this age, kind of really light and fairy and lovely, and
yeah. Also, there's still great, like, there's a very good, tense, scary scene of them attempting to trap Billy in the sauna to see if he is being controlled by the Mind Flayer, and when he's breaking out, and then he fights 11.
Yeah.
That's a great action sequence. Yes. That's a really great, tense, scary scene of Billy. And then Billy ends up making cuts kind of, he doesn't come good necessarily, he's still not a nice guy, but you end up feeling for him when he ends up making the ultimate sacrifice and dying in a way that really impacts on Max in a big way, which isn't surprising, but you see a lot of that play out in season 4.
Yeah.
Her kind of response to his death.
And and then Steve is broken, his face is broken again, and Joyce's house is hasn't got a roof.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because they're going to move to California.
So yeah, again, like in the 3rd season, it ends very similarly.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, and what I told you, one thing that I liked through the first 3 seasons is like the last moment is always nice. Everything has turned out to be okay. Everybody's happy and everybody's together, and I really love this season. I think it's really good.
It is.
Yeah. And so I didn't realize people didn't really like it.
No, there's definitely it's a mixed one. Some people really didn't like it because they felt like it just lost too much of the tone of the first 2 seasons. But I like that. I like that it changes the tone up a bit and is different and gives you a different flavour of Hawkins.
Definitely. I think definitely.
And I think it's still scary. Like some of those scenes with Billy where he's killing the newspaper editor, or all those scenes of Jonathan and Nancy working in a newspaper are horrible, by the way. Like the way Nancy gets treated by those people is just
horrible.
awful.
Yeah.
Gary Busey's son, Jake Busey, plays one of those reporters.
That's why I thought he looked.
He looks just like Gary Busey.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, just a little bit uglier in that in those scenes because he's an ass bag.
Yeah, he is awful.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the Mind Flayer, like it's pretty some terrifying stuff. A good season. And then of course it was a big long wait from 2019 to 2022 for season 4, which we will be discussing in more detail next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but based on the first 3 seasons, what would be your ranking of them?
Probably 3, 1, 2.
Interesting. Mine would be 1, 3, 2.
Mm.
And if you remember earlier, I said that season 1 is the second best. You can probably guess what my what I think of season 4.
I guess. Well, out of the 3, 3, 1, 2. I think.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, 3 and 1 for me are very close together because I love them both.
For me, it's 1, 3, and then a bit of a gap, and then 2.
Yeah. Because it's just, they're so good, and I think it kind of got the essence of the friendship again.
Mm-hmm.
And them being together, but also them falling apart because of, girls. Girls. Yeah. But then season 4 is a different world.
Oh, get ready to talk about Eddie. Get ready to talk about Vecna. Get ready to talk about Kate Bush.
Let's talk about Eddie. Have you seen what they did to him? I think his name is Jonathan Quinn.
Yeah, or Joe Quinn or Jonathan
Joe
Quinn.
I think, Joe Quinn.
What have they done to him?
Well, no, like I think something happened, and it was at a meet and greet, and then the organisers of the meet and greet said, "You're spending too much time with people. You need to move on," and he wouldn't move. And then somebody at the convention that said, "I just wanted to thank you for spending time with us, even if you were treated badly by the organisers."
Oh, I did see something like that.
And then he cried.
Oh, he seemed like a really
nice guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Talk about him more later in his Metallica guitar playing antics.
Oh my god. Oh my god! Like I don't think you can even rank. Like I think season 4 is just it's just a world apart.
Can't wait to go through that season. It's so good.
But it's just a great show, and I could talk to you for another hour about it or more, just to kind of like little things that I
Give
love.
me your 3 favourite characters.
You already asked me. I have no idea. Like Steve Harrington, definitely.
Okay.
And then I think it depends also on the season, but Steve Harrington, all 3 seasons.
Yeah.
4 is probably my fave. And then I like Jim Hopper as well in Everywhere, because I think he's the best. He's amazing, and he makes such a transformation throughout the series. He's incredible. Yeah. I don't know, because I love them. Like Dustin is amazing. Like I love Dustin.
Dustin is great.
Yeah. So you can't do, because I think also what I love about it is just everybody changes and evolves, and they are in different groups. There are different dynamics, and that's what I like about it, because every season is kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
And they, for example, Nancy Wheeler in the last season, OMG.
Yes, big Sigourney Weaver in Alien vibes.
I was like, I had my hands, I was just like, no. Oh my, so I love her in season 4. I think that's the season where she shines.
Yeah.
And although she always shines at the end of every season, I think that is just like incredible.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and 11, I really like the first season of 11. I liked her in the fourth, but in between, maybe in the third, but in the second, I was just like, maybe because she was always alone, basically.
Yeah, definitely didn't serve so well. That I think I'd agree with you that Steve and Hopper are the two big ones, and then Robin and Max would be two others that I really particularly like.
Oh, Max though, like in the
my favourite scene in all of Stranger Things involves Max, and it's great.
There's an episode that we're going to talk about it next week. But
episode 4 of season 4.
Yeah, you said it's the best episode, and I was like, okay, I'll watch it, and then I was like, oh my god, it is the best episode.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I do have a soft spot for Karen Wheeler.
Oh yeah, she's
Mama Wheeler.
Yeah, season 3 she gets a lot of play in season 3, doesn't she, at the pool?
Yeah, and I do like that. I do like a little bit of a sexy mum.
Yeah, she's pretty good. Whereas her husband is one of the wettest characters ever to appear.
I love that. I love the fact that she's just married. Like, she's very beautiful, and she has raised her children well, and she seems to be a very good housewife, and her husband is just dull.
Just a big grey blob sat in a chair.
But no, I'm glad I watched it because I think it's a great show, and I love the fact that not many people die, and I think that's important to carry on the magic.
Barbara died though.
Yeah, Barbara
died. Yeah. They definitely. I think there'll be some people dying in the next season, I imagine, which is the last season. So
I hope not, though, because I kind of like the idea of them keeping them alive and keep, like, kind of 80s children's adventure things, you know? Let's not go too much. Let's just keep them alive. Let them fight. Let them get broken like Steve Harrington. Let them, but keep them alive.
Yeah, let's wait and see what becomes of Max in season 5 as well, because that's pretty rotten.
Yeah,
and
Eddie.
Oh yeah, that's our big season 4. No, sorry, season 1, 2, and 3. We rewind. I hope you've enjoyed your time with us. We love it, and we can't wait to talk to you about season 4 in a couple of weeks' time. Please come back to us for that. Do you have any big recommendations from your Culture Catch-Up this week, Alex?
Atlanta season 3, excellent season.
Nice. And I would recommend The Boys on Amazon Prime if you haven't watched it yet, and the video game Power Wash Simulator, which is a very relaxing time. Please do let us know what you think of what we're doing. Give us any recommendations for stuff to watch or lists to do. You can find all the contact details for us in the show notes for this and every episode, along with links to all our social media channels. We're mainly active on Instagram. And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and anywhere else you can review podcasts and get the word out about us. We'd really appreciate it. It would be great to have more people involved in listening, and we can't wait to see you again in the future. Thank you so much. Love you.
Thank you.